Okay, just go over my little lab area here a bit. A bunch of things down here. Stones, rocks, minerals, different things there's some shells in there. I believe there's some old lion's mane mushroom in there. Let's see here. Oh, there's all my tree barks. That's kaolite clay. I believe it's clay. Yeah, that's the clay. But here's the kit I started with. I think it was like 50, 60 bucks. It did come in handy for several things. I mean, let me get it open here. Like this long thermometer, glass thermometer I use a lot. And it comes with a lot of basic stuff. Got some droppers and a, alcohol burner. And oh, I do have one of those. I've been looking for that actually. Okay. Nice to know I have that in there. And it comes with some stands and stand clips and, a good bit of things. That stand over there up against the wall came with it. And behind my barks, I have some of my bigger flasks that I end up buying. Back there. Test strips for my water. Any kind of water I collect in the wild, I can test for just about anything dangerous in it. Kits are anywhere from less than 10 bucks a box to 20. Some are more expensive for some of the heavy metals and more precision testing. Let's see. I found these to be awesome. Plug them into stoppers that have holes in them, and you get like a 2 or 3 psi release there, so you can keep a little pressure in the flask without exploding it. I've exploded a few flasks. Let's see, that's my microscope kit. These big 1,000 milliliter flasks my work was going to throw away, so I took them. And then, let's see, this came with the oil extraction kit, and this came with the oil extraction kit. So these are not Pyrex glass, so you can't really heat them directly without the assurance that they're not going to break. Here is some smaller things. These are the flasks that I started with. This is what I would recommend. These are like 3 for 12 bucks or something like that. And you can learn a lot with these tiny little flasks and not waste a bunch of material and time. Let's see, what else have I branched into as a top level? I haven't put shit away yet. Here's all my different kinds of frankincense. There's some elm paper I made. There's some chemical mineral compositions there I'm still working with. Some of my cannabis batches. Some cool crystal bottles. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything. That's some wild calcium carbonate I found out in the woods. So a bunch of things, learn minerals too. Minerals, rocks, clay, study where they're at, where they're formed, how you find them. That's important. Jug of piss down there on the ground right there. See it? Plates of herbs that I haven't worked through yet, things I've picked up. Here's those mushrooms I got off the trees the other day. Turkey tails in a Ziploc bag, so I ain't trying to turn my pee purple. Here's the type of hot plate. Actually, here is the hot plate I started with. This one right here, 16 bucks on Amazon. Phenomenal. I had it running for a year straight without turning it off. It still works. I mean, just phenomenal. So I actually have 3 of them. I bought extras so I can run multiple samples at one time. Get yourself some power ports. Pay attention to your blowing fuses and stuff like that. I got one standard like chemistry hot plate that has a stir, and this is a cheap model. um, I think it was only like 50-60 bucks, but it can stir while heating. Just don't let it burn the sample, because it will definitely burn your stir. The stir does not spin anymore. um, I've been doing a little work with these incense burners. I found that these incense burners actually can you can boil water in them, and the water not evaporate out, because it, as it travels up this long neck of this long stem, it condensates back down. I usually put like one of my cigarette cellophanes on top to see if there's any moisture escaping. Have never seen it. I haven't used that air fryer yet. I never use it, but I figured I'd bring it down here to dry out my sealed air samples. And there's my table, more power. Finally did buy a little cheapo microscope, but it works for what I want. Vegetable chopper. Definitely, I need to get another one. Saves so much time, so much time. Let's see, I have a grinder that I use. It's a cannabis grinder, but I use it exclusively for working the herbs that I use here in my little experiment areas. Some things that came with my microscope, the little kit, some extra stirs. This has been really phenomenal. It's called a rock crusher Morton pedestal. It's made out of solid iron. So I usually just beat on this thing with a hammer and use it to beat things down to a micro powder, or like down to, micro powders. So I'm trying to make nano solutions and suspensions and stuff. Yeah, I got some frankincense solution still here. Some myrrh solution still here. Just some different powders. One's kaolinite clay, one's shit, I forget. But there are things I need to make the sealer. This is the wood ash. This one here is wood ash. This one might be the salt. No, that's clay. All right. Jars. Standard old freaking canning jars. You can buy them in bulk. Use them to store stuff in. Phenomenal. You can play around with the fan. I use this box fan because on the hot plate you can drive a hard stopped flask, something like this here, right? And it seals and creates pressure and becomes pressurized. If you keep increasing the pressure, it will explode. Be aware of this, because I've exploded a couple things. But with a hard stopper in, you're creating that pressure. The box fan blowing air across it will create a thermal gradient diagonally across the flask from front to back, and create a cold spot. So then you create a what's it called there? Goes hot air rises, and then as it's coming up, as the hot water or fluid's coming up, it's being condensated in the flask before it reaches the top and blows the top or explodes the flask. So you can drive a lot of things right up to pressure threshold, which I found is needed for a lot of the work I do. Seems like a lot of things strip down a lot easier when they're driven up to like an extreme pressure threshold. A bunch of things going on down here. Just components. These tree branches are, see, that's red oak over there. No, that's white oak over there. Harvested last October. Still green. Down here on the floor in my basement. This is the red oak. It's still kind of green, started to wilt a little bit. Those are the baby red oaks I harvested that had white milk coming out of them when I pulled them out of the ground. That's about it, really. I mean, A hot plate and a flask is all you need. That's what I would say, and a desire to learn. Um, Study plants, study the minerals, study the rocks, study the earth, and you'll figure out where things are located or how to find them. A lot of times you'll just find them by being out in nature. So you got to go outside, you got to get in the woods, you got to walk around, you got to have a look, see what's out there. Um, Aside from that, have fun and be safe, definitely.